Hi, my name is Samarpit Srivastav and this is the first video log of the Lohnour Project. I have spent over 2 hours trying to record a perfect video, but it's not happening, so I am just gonna go whatever comes out of my mouth naturally. I am Samarpit Srivastav, the Quiet Leaders Coach. I am a solopreneur and the founder of Lohnour. I have over 5 years of combined experience in programming, content marketing, and soft skills training. This is June 1st and it's T minus 30 days to the culmination of the world's largest hackathon. Yes, Bolt.new, which is a product company of Stack Blitz, is conducting what they call world's largest hackathon, whose prize pool is $1 million and the first prize winner gets $100,000. The submission started on the morning of May 30 and it will conclude at the night of June 30. As they call it, it's the world's largest hackathon. Even I haven't heard a hackathon that's running so long. It's usually for a few hours or days. Let's get back to it. Anyone from across the globe can participate it, with exceptions of some countries. You can participate either solo or as a team, and the exemptions of the countries are mentioned on their website hackathon.dev. There are several prize categories, several challenges, whose details you can also find on their website. And yes, that's pretty much about it. Now, I personally just came across an article about the same only on the morning of May 30th. And initially my response was, yeah, well, that's okay, that's just a hackathon and there is no point in participating in it because there are too many intellectuals on the competition and the chances of me winning is very less. But long story short, I finally got myself to get ready to participate in it, and I am participating in it with the aim of materializing my vision, Lohnour. Now, what is Lohnour? Lohnour is made by shrinking the phrase life of honor. I made it up, but it's not just a name for a company. It's a phrase that represents a philosophy, a way of life. Like yoga is a way of life. Yog means union with the divine. Lohnour means a philosophy, a way of living a balanced life. And yoga is a part of it too. So that's pretty much about Lohnour. It will take me an entire month to build it. I have been building it for a long time now. But what's the story? Because as I said, it's a philosophy. So what's the story behind it? So for that, I'm gonna have to tell you my story. And I have been delaying it or avoiding it, telling my own story for a long time now, for years, because I have felt shame that why would anyone want to hear about my story. But because now I have started this Lohnour project and this being the first video log, I have to tell the story, and this will make this video a little longer. The coming logs that I'll be posting over the course of next 30 days with my progress, where I have reached what I am doing right now, it will be short 5 to 10 minute videos, but this may get a little bit longer. But let's get into it. So I'm gonna tell you about it in 2 parts. First, in short, I will tell you about my early childhood before 2018, and after that, which includes my personal professional journey, and not just journey, a transformation. In 2018, I dropped out of college. So I'll get back to it later. Let's start with the beginning. I was born in a middle class Indian family, and I was born very small, and throughout my childhood I remained very weak physically, skinny kind of, and I was also a shy introverted kid. My father is kind of, I don't want to get into using scientific terms incorrectly, so let's use loosely these terms, that my father was kind of a bipolar narcissist. On the one end of the spectrum, he is very loving, kind, caring person, and on the other, he is a control freak with extreme anger issues. So in short, my physique, my personality, and my environment, my father's behavior, it all contributed to a lot of early childhood trauma, which has eventually shaped my course of life. So as I grew up, I became more and more introverted and shy. I couldn't make friends easily. Earlier, when I was a kid, I was able to, but not later on. After 10th, I just followed the herd and tried to make my father happy, followed his dream, which also became my dream of cracking IIT, one of the toughest exams on the entire planet. And 11th and 12th, I took dummy while going to a very prestigious institute for the preparation of IIT. But nothing happened actually. At that time, I grew even more and more lonely, stressful, anxious, and by teenage, I already had discovered porn. And at those lonely times, porn and masturbation kind of became an addiction and an escape to the reality. At the end of 12th, my result was not good. Even after going to coaching, really expensive coaching for 2 years, I only scored 60% in CBSE and around 7.5 lakh All India rank in JEE. Then I took a drop and prepared for the exam again, prepared for a few months with very serious attitude, and then some fuck ups happened. Long story short, at the end, I got around All India rank 50,000 and 80% in the boards because I had to reappear for them, because if you have less than 75%, you are anyway not allowed to enter an IIT. So I had to, what do you say? I had to reappear for the boards as well. Okay, so up until that point, I was a very agreeable kid. I did not ask for things from my parents. I just agreed with anything. I could not rebel, revolt, anything. But after that, changes in my personality started happening, and I wanted to just go away from the so called or so felt toxic environment towards me. I just wanted to go to a different city, live away from my parents, and I fought at my home for that I want to go to Pune. It happened. Eventually, I went to Pune to an engineering college and computer science stream because I had been interested in computers from an early age. I spent an year there, but I realized that my parents did not give me enough money to actually enjoy college life, and I had gone there with the mindset of becoming an entrepreneur. I wanted to be Mark Zuckerberg. But when I went there, I did not do anything. I just felt that I had wasted an entire year. So I decided to drop out because I did not want to continue spending my father's money, which I had convinced them to spend after fighting a lot. So I decided to drop out. I came back to my hometown and I ran away. Yes, I ran away from home, stayed on the streets for a few days, and then I went to my uncle's house because I just came back. That was a failed attempt of running away from home. So this was in June 2018. As I said, I will tell you the story in two parts. So this all was my early childhood till I became a teen and then an adult, and then ran away from home and came back and started living at my uncle's place in Udaipur in June 2018. Now after that, after dropping out while living in Udaipur, I started learning web development by myself. I initially learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these front-end technologies, some JavaScript frameworks as well. And in the back end, I learned PHP. In January 2019, I came back to my home in my hometown, Indore, and just continued with my life. I had enrolled in a long distance university, Indira Gandhi National Open University, just for the sake of having a degree. So I was continuing with my life while pursuing a long distance course for which I only had to go appear for exams at the end of every 6 months. So came back to Indore, kept learning all that, and in March 2019, I guess, I got an internship in an IT company where I went and actually put my skills that I had learned into practice. Now after that, life went southways. As I mentioned that I had been a porn and masturbation addict like any other teenage chaotic hormones fueled guy. So after that, in the mid 2019, I started smoking. Don't ask me smoking what. I started smoking, and by the end of 2019, I had become an addict, which went on for several years on and off, which I will tell you. But yeah, that's basically it. So 2019 ended and 2020 began. 2020, in the beginning of 2020, I got a job in the same company that I had done my internship in. Now, in the previous year, when I was learning all these web technologies, I was learning WordPress. I also explored Drupal as a content management system. I had this idea of creating a platform where people can come and learn ways to live naturally, and yoga, asanas, meditation, mudraएं, all these were very integral part of what I had planned for that platform. I worked on it for several weeks, but it did not go anywhere, and it has been kind of the story of my life. I have started so many projects but ended very little of them. Kind of an ADHD mind. I haven't been analyzed, but yeah, I have severe ADHD tendencies. So mentioning that was important because Lohour, I now understand that the Lohour was conceptualized back then. At that time, I used to call that platform LiveNat. Yeah. Now let's come back to January. I started doing job in that company as a full stack web developer and Android developer on a very entry level, junior level position. I worked there for a few months, and in the April of 2020, when COVID happened, there was lockdown in almost all the countries throughout the world. I started freelancing from home. I left the job and started freelancing as a WordPress developer from home. I was working from my home. That continued. My addiction became worse, then left for a few days, and then continued on and off. Then the major event after that was in August 2020. I left my home and I fought my father, and because as it's clear from my story that I had become a rebel by then. So in August 2020, I fought my father for some reasons and left home and started living in a separate room that I rented a few blocks away from my actual home. But it was kind of a weird relationship. I was living there, but I was eating food still at my home. Anyway, moving forward, so August 2020, it started like this. I was doing my work, learning things. Up until that time, I had done development. I had also tried to start a business after the COVID first lockdown had ended by selling sanitizers. I did some work in that. I had planned an e-commerce website, doing it online, put in a lot of efforts, but just like as I said, I have started several things but not completed many of them throughout my life. So that project also did not go anywhere. Then 2021 came. Most of the year went by in the second wave of COVID and struggling kind of. Then around April 2021, I started getting into freelance writing. So I got into content writing and I somehow survived. Then in October 2021, I actually joined a job as a content writer in a IT company in Indore, the job I continued for around 6-7 months up until March 2022, and again then I left that job, and after that I got in contact with a person who has had a huge impact on my life. He's Swapnil M. Mane. He is the vice president of the community development project of Apache Open Source Foundation, and he has taught me a lot. I have learned a lot from him, and I worked with him for the next 2 years, and it's the longest that I have stayed at one place with someone. So we started in April 2022, and yeah, we worked on so many different things in the coming next 2 years. On article writing, I wrote technical articles, which I also did at the earlier company where I was working as a content writer. But yes, I wrote technical articles. I developed apps using technologies like Webiny, Next.js, GraphQL. I wrote articles. I wrote not many articles, but one article specifically on how to build a Trello clone using Next.js and GraphQL and Webini content management system. Then I also wrote several documentation. I wrote documentation for Webini with while working with my boss, Swapnil sir, and I also got into YouTube content making and content marketing. For over an year, I worked on a channel called Sadguru Sutra, which I started with him from scratch, created all the videos by myself, and grew it from zero, from literally nothing, to over 8.7 thousand subscribers. We also got an intern on board with us in the between, and then he continued growing it. But yeah, so that was the 2 year journey with him. But in the beginning of this journey, after April 2022, around May or June 2022, I guess, I went to my first Vipassana 10-day course. Throughout my childhood, I had grown up watching Mahabharata, Ramayana, Shiv Puran in the form of series that are made by Indian filmmakers, movie makers. So I have had acquired a lot of that spiritual knowledge with help of these series, and Vipassana was my first experiential spirituality, first experience of actually experiencing spirituality firsthand, not just with the lens of knowledge, but meditating and becoming aware of oneself, becoming conscious of your own mind, of your own ego. Then in February 23, I went to my second Vipassana discourse. My journey continued like this. So there are a lot of details, but it's already 17 minutes into the video, so I'm trying to finish as soon as possible. In the February 2023, I went to my second Vipassana course, and in June 23, I got initiated in Shambhavi Mahamudra. I did my inner engineering in June 23 and got initiated in Shambhavi Mahamudra by Sadhguru. And since then, yes, my practice of Shambhavi has been on and off. I have done it for over 6 months consistently as well, and then been away from it for several months as well. It has been on and off. So yes, up until 2023, all this happened. I acquired a lot of skills. By 2023, I also started working on content marketing, working on a YouTube channel with Swapnil sir. And 2023 end, it was the beginning of the, or like up until now as well, my life has been kind of a chaos, but the end of 23 was the beginning of the most chaotic phase of my life, the most introspective, most deep phase of my life. At the end of 23, my grandmother's health started falling. It used to happen in every winters around November, December, but this time it was very bad. She was in pain all the time, and for almost 2.5 months, we saw her struggling through so much pain, going through so much of pain, that death seemed so much better than that kind of life. And it had impacted me extremely severely. As I have mentioned, like my life had been very chaotic. I have had a lot of early childhood trauma. I have had addictions. I have been trying to escape life in some form of addiction or other, be it porn, masturbation, or smoking. And yes, so at the beginning of 2024, we saw my grandmother suffering from life, to the point where we actually wished that death came to her and she may be freed from this suffering. And it became a breeding ground for all my previous trauma, all my previous insecurities, and I went into a chronic loneliness. If you watch my channel, there are videos from that period where I had shared about my experience back then. So at that time, I started taking therapy. I'm a psychologist, working on my own self. and it was not just the mental state actually, which now I understand that energy, my own inner self, my soul was starting. I'm not able to find the right word, but it was the beginning of the dark night of the soul. And I had to go through a lot of pain to start seeing what is and what is not, to start looking at the reality as it is, to work on my own inner insecurities, my years of emotions, years of memories, years of karma. So that happened. I worked with my psychologist, and then again some fuck ups happened. I may share that in another video. It's 20 minutes already. Okay. So I got to travel a lot after that in the quest of finding myself, because at that time I had lost all meaning. I had gone through literal ego deaths. I had no idea what the fuck to do with my life. I had no idea where I'm coming from, where am I supposed to go. So the entire 2024 went like this, ego deaths after ego deaths, trying to find myself. And yeah, so lot of things happened, and yeah, in September 24 I became a soft skills faculty in an NGO. I worked there for 7 months, and by the end of that 7 months again I was in a period where I could not continue the job. At that time my health was extremely down. My gut health had been severely injured, because when that grandmother thing happened, I had started smoking consistently. I had smoked for an entire year like an addict trying to escape, while going through all this spiritual stuff and everything. Now it may sound counterintuitive, but it is what it is. So yes, I went through all of that, and in the beginning of 2025 I finally quit my job to focus on my health, because my back was severely injured, my gut health was very poor, and I was not able to continue working, like functioning well at my job. I had applied for Sadhana Pada, and they required me to do a detox mandala. So before that, since several months I had not been able to do my sadhana, because my back pain was so extreme that I had to quit my gym, I had to quit martial arts, and I could not even do my sadhana, Shambhavi. It's a yoga sadhana. But in the beginning of February, I made up my mind that no matter what, I'm just gonna blindly trust it and stick to it. So I started doing Shambhavi, and I also decided to now give a new direction to my life. After I quit my job, I decided that no, it's enough of pushing myself into darkness, and now let's get out of this. Again, I had a lot of painful events even in February, but then a new journey started. I actually could quit my addiction and started building this vision, Lohour. And while going chronologically, I forgot to tell you that yes, when I was working in my first job in 2020, I had another idea of an application that helps people to work on their sexual health and overall health as well. So why am I telling this? Because earlier, as I said, that the first idea of Lohour, which was conceptualized, was in 2018 as LiveNat. Then it modified or grew into this thing, which was different, improving sexual health and overall health for men specifically at that time. Then yes, time went by, and the idea kept growing from one thing to different, from living naturally to improving sexual health to living a healthy life in 2022, I guess. Yes. So as I grew, the concept of this thing grew with me. And now after years of acquiring skills and very fast, extremely fast spiritual growth, what this idea has become now. Now, I told you in 2022 June, I went to my first Vipassana course. There, I asked my Guruji that Buddha says that the desire is the root cause to all suffering. So, I am a young individual right now, and I want to eat delicious foods, I want to eat things, I want to travel to places, I want to earn money, I want to become a millionaire, billionaire. Should I not want all that? Because if I am desiring all that, then that is the root cause to my all sufferings. So he said one thing, Vivekshilta, the answer to all of my questions. That whatever you want to do it with Vivekshilta, which means conscientiousness. That it's okay to desire something and it's okay to work for it, but it's not okay to go crazy for it if you are not getting the result. So do whatever you want, but don't go crazy expecting a certain result, and put in your best. Now, that was the founding principle of Lohour. Lohour is the philosophy of living a balanced life, of living a life with Vivekshilta, with conscientiousness. And it started with that just one answer of my Guruji, but as I grew, because I have watched all this spiritual series, I have grown up in such environment, and then I went through all this dark night of the soul, several ego deaths. I looked at spirituality with questions, with trying to find myself, with the quest, in the quest of finding the truth. I tried to understand the characters that have been made by our earlier generations, not to worship them, but to understand what actually they preached, because they already have gone through all of this that I am going through, and they know the solution to them, to those problems. So I also understood the character of Krishna much more deeply than I did earlier. I still haven't even scratched the surface of Krishna, but now I have come to the understanding that don't worship Krishna, become Krishna. Osho says that Krishna was born way ahead of his time. He is a character of Krishna. He is a character of future. He is the only character in the entire literature that accepts life as it is. He doesn't say that every other spiritual figure says that the liberation or the happiness, whatever we are seeking for, is somewhere out of this world. That you meditate, you leave this world, and then you achieve liberation, achieve nirvana, moksha. But Krishna doesn't want to change life at all. He accepts exactly life as it is. And the concept of Lohour is built on those principles, on the character of Krishna. That life is supposed to be experienced as the way it is. We are constantly worrying, we are constantly suffering because we want life to be some other way. But there is literally no purpose to life. Again, I can go in the entire evolutionary history from 2 billion years ago to the point where we are right now. It's already 29 minutes and it's already a pretty long video. So coming back to the philosophy, Lohour is about living a balanced life. Just like Krishna encompasses all the aspects of life, several different aspects of life. He is a lover, he is a politician, he is a warrior, he is a thief, he is a liar, he is everything. He is the most unpredictable character of the entire history. Yet he is the preacher of dharma. He preaches and teaches dharma. So Lohour is based on the character of Krishna, and not just Krishna. Lohour is an ever-growing philosophy just like the golden flower. You can search about the golden flower. It's a book written by Osho, and it is a spiritual principle only, which was initiated by I don't know, maybe Taoists or Zen people, I have forgotten, but it's a concept which says that whatever you find valuable to living a fulfilling life, you can add to that philosophy. It's not that if you have made this philosophy or religion, then you renounce all the other principles. No, you integrate whatever works best. So just like that, Lohour is supposed to be a philosophy that is an ever-growing philosophy that integrates all the best parts of the existence. And right now, because I only understand few spiritual characters, and Krishna is one of the greatest one. It's not that he's not a small figure. Even Osho says that for Osho, Krishna is one of the most influential characters. And as I mentioned, as I quoted, Osho says that Krishna is the only person in the entire history, in the entire literature, who accepts life as it is. So Lohour is supposed to be that philosophy based on Krishna's character that accepts life as it is and embodies that persona of Krishna. So when you follow Lohour, you actually live a Lohour. You live a life of honor, which is a life of balance, a life of vivekshilta, in which you walk on the path of dharma, do your karma aligned with your dharma, and don't run after only one aspect of existence. Maybe it's material or just spiritual, or it's money, maybe it's food, maybe it's sex. You encompass all existence. You embody all different aspects of life. Because if I ask you, what would you like? If you would like a life where you just do one thing every single day throughout your life, or would you like to have different experiences? Most people would of course want to have different experiences throughout the life, because that's what life is about, right? So Lohour is that. And because it's about experiences, I want to talk about one more important thing, that if you think about it, and what I have come to understand after all these spiritual experiences, that the only thing we actually own or we actually have is one currency, that is time. We only have time. And yes, of course, we have this physical body, we have energy, but yes, these are the only things that we are given by the nature, by the existence to us. Rest, all material possessions, money, relationships, all these things are made up. So Lohour the Lohour philosophy considers time as the currency. And you, just like you diversify your portfolio of your money to get maximum returns, you diversify your currency into several different aspects of life, so you can get a balanced life, so you can live a fulfilling balanced life. So there are gonna be some aspects that are necessary to living a healthy life. So that includes doing some form of physical exercise, doing meditation, socializing, because it's a physical need, it's a social need for us. So Lohour, the philosophy, up until now it was just in my mind and it was kind of scattered through, but now I have started this Lohour project, and in the course of next 30 days I am gonna jot it down on paper and make an actual philosophy, make an actual reading out of it, so that others can understand it and see if it makes sense or not. And also the time currency thing. So yes, this is currently my aim, to make Lohour a philosophy that considers time as a currency, and you invest that currency into several different aspects of life so that you can live a fulfilling life. And the philosophy is to have certain values. which is again inspired by the concept of dharma. What is dharma? Dharma, if you go to Vipassana, you will listen, like they explain it really well, that dharma is kind of a law. It's just like it is a law of nature that fire burns. So what should be the law of some person to live in alignment with nature? So dharma is that guiding principle for a person that can guide their action so that they can live in the alignment of nature's laws. So Lohour is gonna have those values, and one of the most important value of that is leadership. I am building Lohour because I want to build people who can lead themselves, who can lead by action, who can inspire. So yeah, there are gonna be several values: leadership, kindness, empathy, hard work, and many different things. I have jotted them down over a period of several years. I will look into it and start creating it. So it's already 36 minutes into this video. I will keep explaining my work in my later on videos. So that's pretty much about this one. Welcome to the Lohour project. Let's see where this goes, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.